Good morning and afternoon. It's Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Welcome all. I'm Kane, and today I'm joined with David, better known as the Workday Sharing Guy. Also joining us is Denise, Logan, and special guest. Welcome to the Sharing Show.
Thank you, Kane. Can you tell us a little bit more about Zoom?
Absolutely. So if you want to interact with the show today, and we really encourage it, there is the option to chat with people on the show and chat with everybody actually who's also attending. So if you can, please remember when you chat to change the default so that you're sending your chat messages to everyone. Remember, this is a weekly live show. Feel free, again, to interact with us, and you'll get reminders each week for the show. And now I'm going to pass over to the next part of the show. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start off here with our Kahoot this morning. So if you will go to kahoot.it on your phone browser or other smart device, we'll get started.
Denise, it's asking me for a pin.
Okay, our pin this morning is, it'll pop up here in just a minute. All right, it's 146580. And if you remember, this is our survey. There's no right or wrong answers, just whatever fits your situation best.
And for those who are joining us for the first time, you can, in a browser on your computer or on your smartphone, just type in kahoot.it in the browser. You do not have to create a username through them. You don't have to download an app. It's just kahoot.it is the URL in the browser.
All right, we have 4 questions this morning. How long have you been doing Workday? 1 to 3 years, 4 to 7 years, 8 to 13 years, or 14 to 17 years? Like we have a lot of new users on with us today, and no one picked our 14 to 17 years because Workday hasn't been actually available that long. So it was our little trick question this morning. Let's go to the next question. How many episodes of the Sharing Show have you attended live? This is my first. I have not missed any. I have missed only 1, or I've missed 2 or more.
Okay, last week there were 5. There were 5 who haven't missed any. Now there's 6. So it looks like we've got ourselves some fans that come every single week.
How often are you active on Community? Daily, 1 to 2 times per week, once a month, or what is Community?
What is Community?
Looks like people are pretty active. A lot of people on there daily. All right, we have 1 more question this morning. Where do you go for Workday help? Ask a coworker, ask a friend, or David, the Workday Sharing Guy, investigate on Community, or call Logan. Looks like most people use Community. Logan isn't getting any phone calls. All right, thanks for joining us for the Kahoot this morning.
And now here's David, the Workday Sharing Guy.
All right, hi everybody. This is David, the Workday Sharing Guy. This is a disclaimer I do every week. I am not currently employed by Workday. There's nothing that anybody on this on the Sharing Show does not represent Workday. We are all customers. We are sharing with each other, share-a-thons and the Sharing Show. This is all knowledge and experience sharing and fun. This is not training. I highly recommend the Workday training. For those who are wondering, at one point I was a Workday employee. I was employee 149 back in 2007, and I worked at Workday for about 5 years. I was also the person who wrote a lot of the Workday classes, such as Report Writing, Calc Field, and Workday Studio. After leaving Workday, Workday always makes a big deal every year about this mustache charity for men's health, and it's moved from just men's health such as awareness for cancer, men's cancer. It's turned more into, or also into, suicide prevention and a focus on mental health. So I became a captain, and I'm still captain of the Workday alumni, customers, and friends Movember team. Initially, it was just Workday alumni. Last year, we opened it up and invited customers and friends to actually join the team. And out of hundreds, if not thousands, of Movember teams across the world, I believe we might be the only team that had more females than males. 31 people on the team last year, 16 females, 15 males. We have a goal to be in the top 3 fundraisers teams in the Workday network, and you can see we're pretty far from being in the top 3. I drew some arrows there. We pretty much have to triple the amount that we raised last year. So we will talk about Movember again at some point as the month of November comes closer. But I've taken the opportunity to do some early recruiting for the team.
And for now, we have our fun photo of the week. Does anyone recognize this photo? If you know anyone in the photo or you know what this photo is from, please put it in the chat. We'll give you a couple minutes.
Okay, and while you guys are looking at that photo and putting your answer in the chat, know that we use Kahoots to put people on the podium, the highest scores. And there are other ways for you to score sharing points here on the sharing show. You can be volunteering to share something. You could be volunteering to ask a question live on the show, or you could send in fun photos. So there's several different ways in which you could share. While people are still looking at that photo, trying to take a guess, again, put in the chat if you think you know where this comes from. On the left on the agenda, you see we have a couple of asks, a couple of brainstorms, we have a share, we have several guests. I'm not quite sure how many different guests are actually going to be live on audio. I will do some audio. Often we have people with asks and shares and fun photos, but they don't themselves want to speak, and that's fine. You could anonymously be part of the sharing show. We will still give you points for your sharing. All right, Logan, I don't think there are too many answers in the chat.
So here it is. A Workday office was named Best Place to Work in Europe, and this is part of their team.
Thanks. Up next, we have our first onboarding ask.
So we have a question that has to do with the general overview of the onboarding business process. And our ask wanted to know, is it possible to move the new hire benefit event to the end of the onboarding process? And the reason is that sometimes during the onboarding process, the benefit event is canceled for some new hires. So if you have information about this, you can enter it in the chat so everyone can see. Or if you have a link to community where this information might be, this is what we're here for, to share our info.
And for people who are wondering, we did not put NH to abbreviate new hire. We just take what you wrote, right? You write us an ask, and we're going to copy paste it in here. So thank you for the person who is contributing this. And again, this is fine for you to be asking these questions. Answers might come in the chat. Also, what happens is these are all recorded so people could watch later, and we will start using our LinkedIn group for people to communicate as well on community.
Up next, we have another onboarding ask.
So this onboarding ask, our person wanted to know, is anyone willing to demo their onboarding dashboard and or their onboarding go live process? And if you would like to send us your information, you could possibly be a guest on a future sharing show.
So this is a large open-ended one. This chat will get pretty crowded here, but let's go ahead and add. Now we have 2 different opportunities for you to use the chat. So let us know if you would like to be part of a future show. You could also, again, use community links and copy paste those into the chat if you'd like.
And remember, when you're using the chat, you want to chat to everyone. Make sure you reset the default to panelists and attendees so that everyone can share.
Okay, now we have a boomerang share from our special guest, Chitra.
All right, so Chitra, just one thing I want to show first is we had a Boomerang share-a-thon a few weeks ago, and we collected questions, 18 questions. I'm not expecting people to be able to read these, but it's on community, those questions. And the slide over here to the right is actually showing there's a few different people started talking about these questions. And there was one person in particular who volunteered and has a boomerang for question 107, which is about ABR. And I noticed here it says, well, depending on what you mean by ABR, I have something for you. So Chitra, let's check your audio, make sure you're on.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Chitra. Okay, you're on.
So we have a boomerang here because we have three different rates that we update. One is the LTD, one is the life insurance, and one is the BAR, which is the benefit annual rate or annual benefit rates. We do this during the hire process.
Okay. Visually, you see three different rates, right?
Right. So we have three launch parameters which are similar to the prompts of a report. We are passing the values of how we want to calculate the annual rates and for which employee we want to update it. So you see the launch parameters, there are 4 of them, and the evaluate expression is doing the calculation of what the actual rate should be.
Do you want to highlight what your expression is on the bottom?
Yeah, so if you see there's a property bar which is doing a calculation of the launch parameter, taking the hourly rate, multiplying it by 2080, the number of hours, and what is the FTE for percentage of the employee divided by 100 to calculate the actual rate, the actual benefit annual rate for the person. And here we have the SOAP request here, which is going to, if you see, David can highlight the effective date of when it should be, the effective date of when the annual rate should be effective, the launch parameter of the employee ID. Just below that is setting the benefit annual rate, which we calculated. And below that is the benefit annual rate type reference, which is, since we have three different rates that we want to update, I'm taking the reference ID of the particular rate and I'm passing it over here so that it updates the correct one. So the props bar is going to update one type, props LTD is going to update another type, which is in the other SOAP call.
Now, Chitra, I know that there's several people here on, who come to the sharing show, and almost everyone wants to learn Workday Studio, and they're looking at this screen and they're saying, oh my gosh, David, could you teach me about Workday Studio? This looks so fascinating. Or maybe some of you are saying, what is he talking about, right? But this is something you just reviewed. LP, launch parameter, that's similar to a prompt on a report. And you ask people when they run the report for the effective date, the employee ID, and on the previous slide, you showed this calculation for BAR.
That's right.
So excellent. Okay, let's do one more.
And this is the integration step on the hire business process. If you see the parameters here are getting passed to the integration as launch parameters. So the prompts are employee ID, the same ones, hourly rate, effective date, and FTE percentage. So when the hire business process runs, it picks the values from here and passes it to the integration, similar to the prompts.
Okay, now I didn't add a slide in here, Chitra, but we have a Boomerang library page. So you can upload, I believe, just what's called a .clar file,
Okay.
PLAR, and you can share that on the Boomerang library page.
Okay.
Let's just see if anyone has any questions for Chitra. You could put that in the chat, and I've put here on the top of this slide your comment on community, which prompted you coming to this show. Is there anything else that you'd want to add to people about, mention to people how you feel like what you wrote is something they could use? They would need some help editing, or
I believe only the calculated dates and the WID, because we have most of our hires as future dated. So we don't have the hourly rate and the FTE percentage effective until that day. So just a few of those to remember, and I think it should be okay.
Okay, now I know it's hard for you to watch the chat while you're presenting.
Sure.
So I'm going to go ahead and move forward. Thank you, Chitra, for thank you for sharing, and I look forward to seeing this on the Boomerang library.
Okay, up next we have an update on LinkedIn Learning.
Okay, just a very quick update from me here. This is a picture from a previous airing of the Sharing Show, and it's one of our Sharing fans who had put into a chat a comment about LinkedIn Learning, and then had learned some and shared. And then what happened was, in between the last show and this show, somebody asked a question on community about LinkedIn Learning. I was able to answer by pointing to the video. This is being recorded. It's on YouTube, and you could actually put in a link pretty easily now with the right click after pausing to the exact second in which Rick was introduced and talked about LinkedIn Learning. After that, yesterday, somebody added more to that same page for those who are interested in Workday Learning and integrating with LinkedIn Learning.
Okay, up next we have our first brainstorm.
Okay, this brainstorm came in to us. Somebody wanted us to highlight this particular one. And again, this is another anonymous sharing. And there's a brainstorm number on there, 326396. And it has to do with the default of tobacco use. We're not going to spend too much more time on this. If the person who anonymously is sharing this wants to add more on the chat, feel free to do that. And then here's a picture of the brainstorm, 25 votes so far.
Okay, up next we have another brainstorm.
And do you remember who this one is from, Denise?
This is from our special guest, Floyd.
All right, Floyd from Tennessee, are you on audio? All right, I knew Floyd was going to maybe not be on audio today. What I told him is that we would show the brainstorms that he would like to highlight. I really feel like it would be best for him. I don't want to say too much because what we'll do is we'll have Floyd come back on a future airing of the Sharing Show and highlight these. But there is enough on this for those of you who can see it to go ahead and vote or to put comments on it. So you'll see this was posted just on April 12th of this year. There's another brainstorm also that Floyd wanted to highlight, and it has to do with improving performance on calculated fields. There are not that many votes on it so far. This one started years ago, if you could see the screen, and it was only recently updated. So once again, on a future show, Floyd will put some words to this.
Okay, thanks to all of our guests. We're going to go back to David now for worker business objects and dependent business objects.
Okay, so in the chat, we will be answering questions, copying it onto the LinkedIn group. This is just quickly something I wanted to cover. Sometimes people are wondering, during the Sharing Show, do we have any dependence on the previous shows? Could somebody just come to the Sharing Show for the first time and understand what's going on? Well, it just turns out on last week's airing of the Sharing Show, I was focusing on dependence. So you see here a picture of a report with a field on the dependence object. I also highlighted that you could click on it and you'll see that the dependence field is on the worker object and it's pointing to an object called dependent. And you could actually see, if you clicked on that link, how many fields you have on the dependent object. You can also see the field name, the business object you're on, several things in last week's airing of the Sharing Show that I was highlighting to help beginners or even those who have been doing Workday for a long time, nobody over 14 years, but for people who have been working with Workday, sometimes people come to these screens, they're still not quite sure how to navigate those screens. Now, we're coming up here soon on our final Kahoot quiz, but there's actually a bonus challenge. When you look at the data on dependence, you have somebody's last name, of course, and their birth date. And I actually had this happen, and it's a question I remember being asked as a kid, that two people come into a hospital, they have the same last name, the same birth date, the same birth city, but they're not twins. So we're going to come back to that bonus challenge. That one's not in the Kahoot. I'm going to answer that one in a second. If you think you know the answer to how these two are not twins, go ahead and put it into the chat. Then I know that you were born around the time I was, because a lot of people were asking that question.
And here we have, excuse me, our quote of the week. And someone sent in saying, love the uniqueness of the program. Kudos to you for creating another opportunity for Workday users to connect in a friendly, non-intimidating atmosphere. Thanks for that. And if you have comments that you would like to share, if you have an ask or a share, please be sure to send it in to us.
Thank you, Logan. And for those who are first time, just take a very close look at this picture. For those who are repeat here, fans of the Sharing Show, you might know what's coming up in the Kahoot, but we just want everyone to take a close look at these eggs that look like the Earth. So here's a bonus challenge again. They're not twins. I don't know if anyone got the answer in the chat. The reason is because they are triplets. This happened to me live. Two of my nephews were with me. I was skiing with them a couple weeks ago, and as we were registering, nobody knew that answer. Only two of the three had flown out to go skiing. I'm coming back to this picture. Here we see manager level 1 on the worker business object, and the related business object is worker. You also see on the worker object a field called workers manager. It's singular. It says workers manager, not workers managers, but this is actually one-to-many related business object. Again, it's a worker on the worker. So today's challenge, which we will see in the Kahoot, take a close look at this picture. The question is going to be, what is on that field there, the field type, the purple box?
All right, let's take our quiz and we'll see who makes the podium this week.
And as you are all getting ready for the quiz Kahoot, for those who are doing Kahoot for the first time, remember you can open up a browser, any browser, kahoot.it, and then it's going to ask you for a pin. You might see there was an egg planted in that photo.
All right, here we go. You may have to refresh your browser to put in the new pin. It is 139206, and this will have a right and wrong answer. Right, there are 3 questions.
How many Logans are in the picture? 3 is red, blue is 5, yellow is 7, green is 9. Again, it's quite an odd question we are asking. All right, people, everybody practically got the right answer. Your points come from how quickly you answer. Let's see who's in the lead. Nathan, then Lacey, then Jen, Tom R, and Charlene. I think I pronounced your name right, hopefully. Really close, all within 10 points of each other. And today's Boomerang, BAR, is an acronym for Boomerangs Always Runs. Benefits and recruiting, being a report, benefit annual rate. And you see there the expression for BAR. There's a calculation that Chitra described to us. Okay, we went quickly, but the right answer was green, and Jen is in the lead, then Wendy, Chitra, of course you know that one, Lacey and Tom R. You're all within 30 points of each other. Final question. What is the field type? Now in this picture, there's something called field type. Field type is single use one-to-one, multi-instance, one-to-many, self-referencing instance, or text. I have a feeling that everyone's going to get this right because the purple box has been removed. Okay, well, lots of people got it right, but you had to go quickly, of course, and the scores were very, very close. Let's see who's on the podium this week. Callie, if I'm saying it right. Chitra, we're not going to say that's cheating. You're in second place. You're allowed to do that. Priscilla, you're in third. And this was all within, what, 30 points of each other, 25 points of each other. So congratulations to those who made the podium. You're now in the running for the grand prize. All right, Kane, we're ready to wrap up. This is showing this picture in case people did not know. On YouTube, there's a channel, and it has all past airings.
Excellent. Thank you, David, and thank you, Denise, Logan, and thank you to our special guests as well for speaking today and joining the show. So as always, as David mentioned, we will push and publish the recording today over to our YouTube channel. You'll also find the previous shows there. Please head over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button and get the notifications, and it will let you know when we have posted it. So lastly, just to say thank you everyone for joining today, and we look forward to seeing you next week, and enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great work day.